climbing, and India is now officially a net exporter of toys. Indian manufacturers are still figuring out how to scale up, bring costs down, design toys that aren't just educational but actually fun as well, or maybe the other way around. As a mum, I'm always thinking that. But there are real battles when it comes to toys in India and across the globe.
Battles and a balance. Today's kids aren't just playing with action figures. That's the tricky part. They're coding robots, they're building worlds on Minecraft, and they're demanding play experiences that are interactive, immersive, and because they're so close to screens all the time, fear is addictive. Now, we obviously here don't necessarily approve of that, but we did want to talk a little bit about the depths. How much are toy players, toy creators adapting to these changes? Can India become a toy superpower? And are we going to create the next Lego?
So who better to ask this from some of the best designers and toy manufacturers in India from across the spectrum. Let's introduce our guests here now. We have with us, keeping up with the toy, keeping the tradition.
Before we do that, we'll show a map to our audiences, of all the
we have
different
those
toys.
pictures. Oh, yes,
Yeah.
please, let's do that. Okay, here is the thing. So what you see on your screen right now is actually the map of India, and it's actually the toy map of India on how different regions have been flourishing in different kind of toys. This is just a sort of a peep back into the history to understand how beautiful Indian toy traditions actually are.
Okay, so just let's look at where each of these toys are. So we're actually showing you this map. First, what we're showing you is the wooden Channapatna toys of Karnataka. We'll be focusing a little bit on them later in the show. Then we're also going to be showing you handcrafted figurines from Andhra Pradesh. Okay. Down south again, Telangana, what are we looking at right now?
So there are some Nirmal toys, as they are called. Even I didn't know about this while researching. All of this has popped up from Telangana that have been sort of in tradition for a while. They are terracotta crafts that come from Assam as well. So each region, you see how they look at local ingredients and local things to actually turn it into toys, and that's something that just a supermarket cannot offer, right? So that's something that India has been thriving over. So what you see on your screens right now is that Made in India push. That is what we are trying to sort of put on the map, on this toy map of India. The challenge is keeping these traditions alive while making them relevant for today's market.
Okay, so let's go over to our guest now to decode this, as we were promising our audiences that we'd do a little earlier. So to decode this with us, we're just going to introduce all of you, but good morning to all of you. So Hasini Paul joins us. She designs toys for global giants like Disney, Kinder Joy. She knows what will make a toy fly off the shelf. She also runs a branding boutique. So she actually works with young toy companies, help them understand how to brand themselves to sell better. Anubhav Jain runs a toy manufacturing company. He has the inside track on whether India can take this toy boom into real dominance. And Karthik Vaidyanathan, he is reviving India's traditional toy handicrafts, and he actually works on the grassroots level to do this. We'll be talking with him about how he's done that, how he's built a woman-led community. Karthik, that was really cool to read about. But okay, let's go over to our guest right now to understand a little bit more. First, Anubhav, we'll just come to you to ask you an opening question. Then we'll go over to each of our other guests. This interesting question we keep saying, how can India get its next Lego? Is that the right question to ask? How can India have a Lego, a trademark, a toy that's as recognizable globally?
Or a Barbie.
Yeah, or something that, that is
unique.
That is unique. And what that means is not obviously, we already know that India creates incredible handicrafts, but I think it's something to do with tying it to marketing. Maybe you can shed a light on that. Anubhav, we'll start with you. Do go ahead.
Yeah, thanks. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, guys. As far as it goes for making the next Lego or the next major big brand coming in from India, we have started with the support that we're getting from the current government. That is really good. And plus even seeing the way they have inculcated the BIS, the Bureau of Indian Standards, on the Indian toys in order to make the toys safer for the kids. So obviously, getting the design in is a major part, because that is what attracts the customer. That's like the end customer, our kids. But obviously the safety bit has to be there, and the technology that we need to kind of import at this point of time. But I hope in the future we start building on that technology here in India itself. Would probably be a good kickstart.
Is it? Can we take that same question to Suhasini? Do you think it's a lack of technology in the country? Problem? Where do you see it? Is it a design issue according to you, Suhasini?
Good morning, everyone. Happy to be here. I think technology is not an issue these days because as Indian startups and Indian entrepreneurs and Indian technologists, we are very good. And technology, technology is available everywhere. But the problem over here is we have to marry technology with design and manufacturing. So we have to be, using the technology in the right way in the toy, in the physical form, and doing collaboration with entrepreneurs who are doing technology stuff, manufacturers and designers. We all have to collaborate together to bring the toy on the shelf. So I think that collaboration is what is required. Technology, manufacturing, design, everything is best in India, but we need to collaborate together.
Can I take the next question to Karthik? Karthik, as a new mom, I have a love-hate relationship with toys. And I often think about what is it that kids today need, not just from an industry perspective, and also what is India's contribution to the toy world globally. Why do you think it is so hard to have wooden, handicraft, Indian-made traditional toys scale up at that level where we say, I don't want to see another plastic toy which will fade away in 2 days. I don't want to see that. How do we make that happen?
Good morning, guys. Happy to be here. So there are several issues that you brought up, right? Let me tell you one thing. There are definitely a few good things that's happening. When Varnam started work in the Chanapatna sector, Chanapatna was essentially known for making very traditional Indian ethnic-looking toys, which is what you were showing on the screen. What Varnam did is we looked at the scale and said, okay, there is a scale, and how do we adapt it to the global market?
Right.
And what we started doing is try to attract the toy-like whimsical quality and retain that in whatever we did. So there is a toy-like whimsical quality to whatever we do. And the idea is to keep it well finished. There is a focus on quality and design. And the thing is, India is definitely not lagging behind when it comes to being digital. We work with artisans over a WhatsApp, over calls. The artisans are very quick to pick up. We are a Jugadu country. If we need to do business, we will do business. I think where we need to really start putting focus on, and which is where Varnam has come in, is that we focus on design. And also a lot of parents like you are now saying that I want my kids to grow up on Indian stuff. I want them to touch and feel products. I want them to work with toys which are naturally sustainable. The colors are natural. In fact, when the foreigners come into our stores in India, they are absolutely wow. They cannot believe that there is something like this. When we were at a toy fair in Germany 3 years ago, a lot of people who walked in said they couldn't believe that it was wooden toys. They thought we were ceramic because the finish and the glow was so good. Until they touched it, they couldn't believe. And the next day, we had all the European designers crowding our stalls, trying to find out what is this craft. So definitely,
Karthik, can I interrupt there to say that? You're absolutely right in your insight about foreigners actually taking to it because it is so unaffordable for majority of Indians. How do you marry the price then of say something that will pop up in a sweet like Kinder Joy to something which is so expensive, a wooden handicraft or handmade toy? How will you ever match that?
So one of the reasons we've been successful is that we actually run stores that are completely focused on the Chanapatna toys. When I started it, people said people are not going to walk in just for a single craft. But I think the reason we've been successful is also that we've kept the products mid-premium. Most of our products are below 1,000, and we decided to do that intentionally so that it's affordable. And let me also tell you, there is a lot of time that goes into creating these toys. And in our case, especially the artisans are extremely well paid. And most of them being women, they are single wage earners. And unless they are well paid, they will not continue in their craft. So our artisans have been with us from the past 12 years. For the single reason that we pay them well. And customers and consumers are becoming aware of it. They are willing to pay that little extra premium. All I tell them is it's one meal in a restaurant that you would pay. It can change the life of an artisan. And I think for us, the pricing has worked. We don't keep it extremely premium. We don't keep it cheap as well because it is expensive to make it. But production and scaling is where we struggle. but the future is definitely bright.
Okay, so Karthik, we'll come to you in a little while to ask you exactly what you touched on right at the end. Production, scaling, and how other Indian handicrafts and other states can actually adopt some of what you've learnt in your journey. But Suhasini, if we can come to you for a second, before we get ahead of ourselves, I just want you to walk our audiences through the basics. So, what does it take to design a toy for the Indian market? What do Indians love? How are we different from the rest of the world? Walk us through the ABC.
Definitely. So as Indians, we all know that we value for money. So whatever we buy, we actually, whatever it's a product or it's anything, we actually use it to the core. 100% we use the product, we repurpose, we recycle, we hands down the product. So in case of toys also, what parents are looking is definitely a worthwhile toy, which is value for money, which is educative, which is fun, which is safe. So all these parameters are there as Indian consumers, what they are looking into toy. So as designers, we keep in mind all these parameters. And as designer, what I feel is my role as designer is actually bridging the gap between consumers and manufacturers, because manufacturers are directly not in touch with consumers. Consumers are not directly buying from manufacturers, they are buying from retailers. So there is a gap, there is a communication gap, what really consumers are liking and what manufacturers are manufacturing. So it's my role to bridge that gap and understand the users thoroughly, what their likings and what should.
But what have you
what
found
a
about
toy-
what we like? About what
Yeah.
Indians like? Yeah.
Yeah, so it is very important, and in this domain, toy is a very interesting domain where we have two consumers. One is a parent who is actually buys a toy, and one end consumer is a child who is playing with the toy. So what child is looking is endless fun and attractive toy with lot of play value, and what parent is looking is value for money, whether his or her child is getting the education fun out of the toy, whether it's safe or not. And what manufacturers are looking is manufacturer friendly toys, easy to manufacture at low cost. All these things are very important. So I take out the insights from children and design toys and give it to manufacturers, which are very easy to manufacture, which has very high perceived value. And at the end of the day, my consumer who is a parent is happy to get that toy in the particular price range, which has a high perceived value and looks value for money. And that's what I think a toy designer's role is.
Yeah. Anubhav, can I pick your brains on something similar, which is on when you are designing, manufacturing toys, if you had to draw like a comparison there, right? Fun versus learn. Which way do you think Indian manufacturers and toy designers are sort of gravitating, and why?
So when we talk about fun versus learn, I think it's they're basically amalgamating both of them together right now. So it's more of learning along with the fun part of it. So we have a number of brands that have come up in the retail sector right now that are looking to kind of amalgamate both the worlds together. Because see, the parents right now these days, both the set of parents are working, right? So they don't want the children to be just there on the phone or because obviously AI is what I think we all feel that would take over the toys bit in, or probably just kind of again come together with the toys, right? So this is probably something that we are also looking at. But seeing the fun bit and the learning bit going hand in hand is something that is coming up quite a bit. So we as toy manufacturers also are trying to come up with products that help the child to kind of learn something along with the play value that is there attached to it.
Are you saying that you're worried screens will take over toys? Kids will not want to play anymore?
I don't think it's a worry thing anymore. I can see my daughter, my elder daughter, she's 8,
saying it's already
and she is already on the phone, and I'm like for most of the times. So we need to kind of get her back to the basics. Try to get her back to that Ludo and the snakes and ladders that we guys have played. Try to get her back. Obviously, for a girl to kind of, it's not that it's a girl thing or a boy thing anymore. But we from our end try to make car vehicles or trucks that are even attractive for a girl as well. We try to inculcate that kind of a color scheme. So obviously we are
That's
trying
nice,
our level
yeah.
best to do that. We're trying our level best to do that, but obviously it's going to take some time.
I'd love to hear Karthik's views also
Yeah.
on the screen versus toys. What is the way to bring kids back to play with their hands and not their thumbs?
I think for us, our consumers, which are mostly mothers, who take a lot of time and effort.
Okay, I think we've lost him,
Okay.
but we should go to Suhasini. to
Yeah,
ask her
yeah.
this
So,
too.
Hasni, you want to take that question?
Sorry, could you come again?
Yeah, this question of man versus machine, we love discussing it. The fact that screens are coming more and more into young kids' lives, do you see that as a challenge? How do you as a toy designer figure with that,
I think
play with that?
that's an opportunity. I would say not a challenge, but opportunity, huge opportunity out there, because we are all abreast with technology and digital thing. We know how to use that, how to tackle that, and as children, they are very curious to know new things. So why not to have a combination of digital and physical toys? So it's a new genre of toys which is called as phygital toys. So it's very interesting
What
where
is it
we
called? Is it called
it's
Kidgetal?
called phygital.
Phygital.
It's a combination of physical and digital toys. So it's a new trend
love
now
that.
in the world. Yeah. And what it is actually, it's a combination of a technology into a physical, tangible toy, where children are of this age, were attracted to technology, new things, and at the same time they are playing with a physical, tangible toy. So where they don't get bored, because what technology gives us positive point is that it's endless fun and endless information. It is very seamless. So much we can do with technology.
Sasni, do you have an example of a phygital toy? I'm really curious to understand what that looks like.
Yeah, I have an example of digital toy with me. I'll just
Yeah,
get
please.
it for you.
Okay, I'll tell you what, why don't you get that until
While
then
you
we'll,
get it, Karthik
we'll ask
is back.
Karthik a question instead. Karthik, can we ask you what you've done with Varnam? You've often talked in interviews about the problem there. The problem is that ensuring that there's consistency with each product that comes out of local handicrafts. You've had to put a system in place. If we wanted to do what you've done with Varnam, with handicrafts across the entire country, what are the steps necessary? Just give us a quick lowdown.
Yeah, so I worked in the corporate sector as well, and we brought in a process-oriented work management into the way we create products. We have weekly meetings with our artisans where they actually do order lists. They are all trained on WhatsApp, so they write down on paper whatever is the order. We sit and schedule it well in advance, because please remember, you have to source the wood, you have to season the wood when you're making toys, and they also have to plan which artisan is going to work on what. So there is a lot of planning that goes into it. And in our case especially, we are one of the few units in Channapatna where the unit is owned and run by the women themselves. Please note, in Channapatna, most of the units are run by proprietors or middlemen. We've given the power back to the women and the artisans, and which is why we are actually seeing more artisans coming back to the unit, because they would rather be led by a peer who knows the craft, and rather than a middleman or a proprietor. So we brought the power back to the artisans. We brought in scheduled meetings, we brought in a process, and they've also seen the money. They're earning well, they are closing their loans that they had taken during COVID, and that is what has been a game changer for us.
Incredible.
Every time you put women at the forefront of any business, it thrives, whether it's carpets in India or it's handicraft, right? But I think Sasni is back
She's
with
got
that
her toy.
Please show me what a phygital toy looks like.
Yeah. So can you see this toy?
Yeah, we can.
Yeah.
It's slightly,
Yeah.
there we
Yeah.
are.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so this is actually a tangible physical toy. If you see again from all the angles, it's a tangible
We'll
physical
request
toy.
that full screen again, just so we can see it more carefully. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah. So what I was talking about is a phygital toy, where this looks like a normal physical toy, but inside it there is a technology. And what does that technology do? It is called as IoT, Internet of Things. So it is connected to the mobile phone of parents, caregivers, or any relatives of a child. And the technology does is that this toy can play n number of songs, infinite poems, infinite stories to the child, and it also has a call button to mom, where when in distress or when the child is missing a mom. Nowadays all moms are working, most of the moms are working, they're away from the child, and when child is playing, he or she can call the mom, and there is a speaker where child can speak to his mom through this toy. So this, isn't it wonderful to combine this technology with a physical toy? And even if when the technology is in not in use, this is a beautiful, interesting character of a monster. And nowadays children love monster and this character. They relate to characters very quickly. And if we give them characters, narratives, and stories, and it is very interesting for a child to associate with that. So there is a character which is very interesting. We have stories,
Right.
narratives around this character.
Got it.
So even if technology is not in use, this can be played as a toy, as a
I don't know, I think
toy
I'm from the
itself.
generation where the minute you put some tech in a toy, I feel like, is it really a toy? I think I'm just that generation, but it's really cool innovation. I think we have time to ask one last question to Anubhav. And Anubhav, if I can sort of put you in the spot to ask you this, if you had to bet on one Indian toy which you think is made for the world, can be India's gift on a global platform, rooted in India but has like really great potential, which one would it be and why?
I think the toys that Karthik is doing they're wonderful. So probably most of the artisan toys, the toys, that's something that is coming from India. So I know a couple of manufacturers who are doing tin toys as well. You remember the tin toys that we used to have as kids?
Yeah.
The small ones.
Yeah.
The Lattu and a number
doll
of tin
and the
toys.
doll.
So that is, Yes. Those, and even the wooden toys that we are doing right now are fantastic. So I personally have around 38 manufacturers who are manufacturing for me, other than my own manufacturing. So in that case, I come across so many toys and so many ideas and designs that are really wonderful. Obviously, it is just about getting it now to the world rather than just keeping it here in India. And I think it's spreading now. It's started doing that. That's happening.
Okay, hopefully we'll see a Lego out of India very, very soon. It's been lovely to speak to all of you. Anubhav, Karthik and Suhasini. Thank you, Suhasini. Thanks for bringing
Thank
that
you.
toy, showing it to our audiences.
Thank you.
Thank you for
Thank
taking
you.
out the time.
Thank you.
All right, after that very fun learning experience about toys, it's time to move on and talk about something else, but not after we slip into this very quick break.